Do you think that you are promoting unattainable standards of beauty in any way?
No, I don't. Because I think we get up, we do the work, we work out, you know.
Khloe Kardashian's team is reportedly doing major damage control and trying to get rid of an unedited photo of Khloe that has gone viral.
I went to Mia Aesthetics in Las Vegas, and the way I almost died was because 2 reasons. I lost too much blood, and I got an infection in my blood, which means I turned sepsis.
You're the first person in an interview that's ever asked me about my nose. I've done injections, not really Botox. I've responded horribly to Botox.
We all really enjoy taking care of ourselves and being healthy. So I think if anything, the only thing we're really trying to represent is just having the most healthy, being the most healthy version of yourself.
Everyone says, oh my gosh, she's had her 3rd face transplant.
I waited my year or whatever, and then at the end, my shit like literally have fat necrosis in it. So there is hardened fat in one of my butt cheeks and the other one is not in there. So one healed properly, reabsorbed properly, everything like that. And then the other one is not.
No implants.
Shocker.
Kim.
Oh,
She's all natural, baby.
but you already know.
Glad that somebody is speaking the truth about plastic surgery, because this app really glamorizes getting a BBL. Just like what she says, sometimes your body would naturally recheck things that are not supposed to be in there. So when you're putting your fat, even if it's your own fat, from one place to another, BBL is a surgery that is extremely dangerous.
All the steps to try to be as private and discreet as possible. And then you take pictures, and if they're not like perfect, people just like body shame you and criticize you, and like for people to just think that's okay is so frustrating.
My name's Kim Kardashian. I'm the dopest and the ropest person in this class.
Hello my loves, welcome back. Today's topic's gonna be a bit of a heavy one. We're gonna be talking about the Kardashian effect and just how dangerous this whole trend has become for young women and men, and how deep it's been woven into influencer culture. If you are not familiar with what I'm talking about when I say the Kardashian effect, I'm talking about the BBL or Brazilian butt lift and all of the beauty standards that's kind of been making its way onto social media over the last couple of years, and just how dangerous and toxic this has become. So if you don't want to watch this video, if you're sensitive to any kind of ED content or body image content, I totally understand. Before we jump into today's video, I gotta get it out of the way. I'm sorry guys. I just want to thank today's sponsor, Dossier. Dossier offers a fair alternative to luxury perfumes because everyone deserves to smell like luxury. Instead of spending hundreds of dollars on designer scents, Dossier offers luxury scents as low as $29. They offer a range of men, women, and unisex scents, which I really love because I love some more masculine scents with a touch of femininity. All Dossier products are safe for your body, they're colorant and UV free, vegan and cruelty-free, paraben and phthalate-free, so you're able to get all the best scents without all the gross stuff. Even down to all of their bottles being made from 100% recyclable and sustainable materials, aside from the pump. I think one of my favorite things about Dossier is the fact that if you don't like the scents that you purchase, you can send them back for a full refund, and they actually donate all of the returns to charity, so absolutely no bottles of perfume go to waste. I think that's really cool. Some of my favorite scents are the Fruity Brown Sugar, which is inspired by YSL's Mon Paris, and the Floral Lang Lang, which is inspired by Chanel's Gabrielle. My husband really enjoys the Ambery Sage, which is inspired by Tom Ford's Freaking Fabulous. If you have trouble kind of picking out scents or knowing which top notes, mid notes you like, just like me, you can head over to Dossier, where you can choose 3 of your favorite scents and 3 notes that you think you might like, and they'll help you pick your favorite perfume. It's really cool, so check it out. They even offer candles, so not only can you smell good, but your entire house can smell awesome too. So if you're looking for great designer scents, but you want a company that's transparent and sustainable and cruelty-free, check out Dossier. You can even buy for your mom, your dad, your brother, your cousin, your husband, your wife. Check them out. Like everyone, I stepped into the TikTok world in 2020 during lockdown as a fun way to pass the time, even though I was a little bit late to the scene. Over the last year or so, there's one thing that I have noticed about TikTok and Instagram, and that's the insanely unrealistic beauty standards. Whether it's the cat eye, high brows, button nose, full pouty lips, the high prominent cheekbone, athletic but curvy bodies, large chest, tiny waist, and a lot of junk in the trunk.
What you gonna do with all that junk inside that trunk?
I'm gonna get you drunk.
While scrolling for hours upon end in this dystopian world of social media, it's hard not to notice the one thing about these beautiful, flawless women. They all strongly resemble Kim Kardashian or one of her sisters. Honestly, up until the last 5 years, I knew who Kim Kardashian was and had watched maybe an episode or two of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but I never really cared enough to keep up with the Kardashians myself. However, I, along with thousands of others, have been drawn in by the Kardashian Effect. Unless you've been living under a rock, you're fully aware of who Kim is, Kylie, Kourtney, Khloe, Kendall, even Kris, and you're most likely aware of all the drama that they've been involved in and all of the trends that they're responsible for, and the fact that they also struggle with body image. And in knowing all of this, I still can't help but wonder, how in 2022 are we still struggling with these problems to a point that body image may be worse than ever before? In order to understand body image and how these body trends play such a large part in our lives, we need to take a look back through history and see how body image has changed over the years. During the Renaissance era, curvy bodies, pale but slightly flushed cheeks, and soft round faces were the dominant body image. Then with the turn of the century in the 1890s, tight corsets and large busts kind of burst into the scene. During World War I, with many women now hitting the workforce, the slim boyish figure was now the in trend. In the 50s, coming out of the Great Depression, when people had more money and indulgence was more of a common thing, women had more of a slightly fuller figure. This is when the hourglass figure was sought after, along with having a larger bust. Then in the 60s, a slim body look crept back in during the Twiggy era. Then the 80s supermodel look turned into the 90s heroin chic, which turned into the early 2000s Paris Hilton, tall, very skinny, slim look. Now we've moved towards what's called slim thick. According to Women's Health Mag, slim thick is a phrase that has become more popular recently to describe a certain female body shape. A slim thick figure is generally used to describe a woman with a small waist, flat stomach, and larger hips, bum, and thighs, who is toned or considered physically fit, aka any of the Kardashians, fitness influencers, Instagram models, Instagram influencers, pretty much anybody that is on social media and has a large following. Not all, but a very, very large majority. As a millennial, I was somehow oblivious or just completely blocked out the rise and fall of Vine, Lana Del Rey's entire career up until 2019, and the Kardashian craze explosion. It's like I woke up one day and they went from being considered a joke or a mockery to being the it girls or the top influencers that are literally responsible for nearly every single trend happening right now. It's interesting because while Kim denies ever having any work done on her peach, and has even went as far as getting an x-ray done on one of the episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
So what brings you in today?
This is a really crazy request. My sisters have dared me to get a butt x-ray.
You all set? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready as I'll ever be. This x-ray is like the best thing I ever could have done.
Okay, photo up. 1, 2, 3. The proof is in the x-ray. Kim's ass is 100% real.
When you think about it, if she did have a BBL, then that would explain why nothing was found, because if you're not familiar with what a BBL is, it's where they take the fat from a particular part of your body, generally your stomach, your arms, and they inject that fat back into your tush. So it's kind of like getting liposuction and a bigger booty all in one. But it's really difficult to argue that she and her sisters are all natural, especially when they have thousands of women literally knocking down the doors of plastic surgeons, all for a chance to mimic the slim, thick appearance that the Kardashians have cultivated. And I also may have been just a little less annoyed by all of this had Kim not went to such extremes to deny ever having any work done. Especially the fact that people are really a lot more accepting now of plastic surgery. And in today's age, there's really no reason to lie about it. I mean, everybody does use Facetune and Photoshop to heavily edit and change, distort, reconstruct their bodies in photos for social media. So I guess it kind of makes sense as to why maybe she would lie about something like this, but it all just seems so strange to me. And of course, I'm not bashing anybody that has plastic surgery or has had BBLs. Like, I totally understand why somebody would want to do this. I just think that getting it done and lying about it is a little ridiculous. BBLs hit the scene in the 1960s when a surgeon named Ivo Pitanguy, I believe is how you say his name, founded the world's first plastic surgery center in Brazil. And it was here where he pioneered what we now know as the Brazilian butt lift. And he also taught tons of surgeons from all over the world this procedure, in which they carried back to their own states, countries, etc. The method really didn't start to gain traction until the 90s, when a New York plastic surgeon by the name of Sidney Coleman published a series of papers outlining standardized practices for the procedure. But today, the procedure is just growing faster than ever, and I do believe that it is due to the rise of social media and influencers getting this procedure done. So we've really seen a lot of the BBLs over on TikTok, where people are keen on sharing their experiences, the befores, the afters, and even the risks and complications that they have had. One woman had even posted a video where people were lined up waiting to get on the airplane, and there was tons of women in wheelchairs after having the surgery. But I think the biggest problem with all of this are the dangers and the risks involved with getting a BBL. A lot of doctors can just go on a weekend training to get certified. It literally is just a weekend, and a OBGYN or a primary care physician can be certified in that weekend to perform Brazilian butt lifts. And I think that's really terrifying, because yes, they may be doctors, they may be physicians, but it's a little more complicated than that, because you have a general practitioner and then you have somebody that specializes in something. Typically, doctors will specialize in one particular field, and that's exactly what they do. They know how things work. They are more aware of how certain things are supposed to be versus just a general practitioner that can treat, you know, a little bit of everything, but not necessarily being specialized in something, if that makes sense. The rise of deaths and complications in BBLs have went up tremendously, and that's largely due to the rise in popularity. In 2020 alone, there were 40,320 butt augmentations done, and that included both implants and fat grafting. According to Google keyword data, BBL was searched roughly 200,000 times per month between January and May 2021. That's wild. This is one of the deadliest plastic surgery trends. When you look at this report that was done in 2017 by the Aesthetic Surgery Education and Research Foundation in the Aesthetic Surgery Journal, they note that out of 6,000 BBLs result in death. And like I mentioned, the whole going for a weekend training to be certified, the biggest problem is that a lot of people are finding the cheapest surgery because this is expensive. So they'll find one of the cheapest surgeries and they'll fly to Turkey or to South Miami to go get these surgeries done. And it's done by somebody that's just hurting people in to get these BBLs done and hurting them back out. And I really hate to say that, but that's the truth. They aren't giving them proper aftercare instructions. They aren't even giving them proper aftercare in the office. They're just wheeling them back out into the waiting room and sending them home with little to no instructions. And another problem is that while they're doing the surgery, a huge problem arises when something called a fat embolism occurs. And this is when they go in too deep and they end up injecting fat into the blood vessel that goes straight to your heart.
You know, what is a fat emboli? Well, an emboli, it just means something that's goes into a vein and returns up to the heart and gets pumped out to the lungs. Now you can imagine that can either be blood, it can either be fat, it can be a foreign object, and any of those things can go, and once it gets pumped out to the lungs, they're going to block the blood flow to the lung. Obviously, if you're blocking the blood flow to the lung, you're not going to get oxygen. If you're not going to get oxygen, it can be fatal. That can be a fatal complication. It's something that's much less now that we don't inject below the muscle or in the muscle, and we just inject beneath the skin into the fat.
The published reports, all these women have died following complications from Brazilian butt lifts.
I try not to get emotional when people talk to me about this, but it's hard.
Oklahoma nurse Rolanda Hutton claims in a lawsuit a botched procedure left her in a wheelchair.
They put in way too much fat. The fat they put in bagged her nerves. I mean, it compressed her sciatic nerves. That's why she can't walk.
Some unscrupulous and unqualified people are now trying to cash in, offering black market butt lift injections to women at discount prices. Case in point, this woman who doesn't even have a medical license.
It stings like a pinch. Have you ever got a needle?
We found her advertising her advanced glute enhancement needle therapy on this Instagram account. The cost? $950. Wearing hidden cameras, Inside Edition producers Alicia Powers and Katie Taylor met with her in this office space.
This is what's going to go in her. This is the filler. So one for each cheek.
Can you walk me through what's in it?
Okay, so mainly collagen. We have aloe vera plant, seaweed, vitamin E, mucus. I don't know how to pronounce it. So we could Google it if you want.
Yep, she can't even remember what's in those syringes.
Does it say coffee?
Yeah.
There's coffee in this?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you inject it in the butt?
Right, I was going to ask what.
So we'll go right here.
It's hard to believe that that type of thing happens in this day and age in the United States, in the state of New Jersey. It's really remarkable. We're talking about a procedure that is not being done by a doctor, being done by an unlicensed professional in an unsterile way with someone that can't even pronounce the ingredients that she's injecting into your buttocks. Come on now. This is crazy.
So it's really scary. People are literally risking their lives to have the perfect Kim Kardashian Instagram body, but it's taking their lives or putting their lives in danger. And it's really interesting because while I was doing research for this video, I got an email from a plastic surgery company, I don't even know what to call it, in Istanbul, Turkey. It's really wild. So I got this email from this plastic surgery place in Istanbul, Turkey, and they were trying to offer me a deal to come get plastic surgery. And then, of course, like many other influencers, share it on my social media. So I literally have experience with being approached by a plastic surgeon with something like this. And that happens a lot. A lot of Instagram models or Instagram influencers will be offered plastic surgery. sometimes they even document it. You can find tons of videos like that where they're given free plastic surgery. In return, they promote and share this with their audience. And this helps kind of, you know, get more people going to get plastic surgery at these places, but they're not safe. They may or may not know what they're doing, and it could, like I said, result in death, and it's really terrifying. So I'm not saying that these Instagram influencers or these Instagram models or even the Kardashians are bad people for getting this type of surgery. And like I mentioned, if you have gotten a BBL, like you're not wrong, you're not bad, and I'm not degrading or putting anybody down. I just think that we need to kind of be a little more conscientious of this kind of thing. And it's hard because you have social media and everything constantly in your face making you feel like your body is wrong, that there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with the way that you look, you know, and that we need to change it. And we have so many options available at our fingertips to do so that it makes it hard not to. So I totally get it. But yeah, it's very dangerous. And again, it kind of goes back to that whole thing with like social media and the toxic environment that it has produced. And honestly, I think it goes as far back as Tumblr, when a lot of EDs really started, and it's kind of trickled onto other platforms to the point that it's almost normalized now. We see it as a normal thing for people to become obsessed with diet culture, to become obsessed with plastic surgery, to altering their appearance. And some people, it's even a way for them to make money, you know, changing your appearance to the point that you become a large Instagram influencer with a very large following to the point that you're making money. So it literally becomes a way of making a living. Another problem that we're seeing with this trend, especially when it comes to the Kardashians, is that Kim Kardashian and her sisters have all been accused numerous times of cultural appropriation, and it's literally gotten to the point where it's a big problem. And I totally understand what people are saying, especially the POC community. They have every reason to be frustrated with the situation because, like it's been said, not only are the Kardashians taking these body trends from POC and Latinos and repackaging it under white beauty standards, but then they're reselling it as POC women feel like their bodies aren't good enough, aren't what the Kardashians and social media are making them feel like it should be. When you go back and look at some of the photo shoots and pictures that Kim Kardashian herself have put out, you can really get a feel for the toxic cultural appropriation within those. And I really wanted to touch on that. I will link a couple women of color that have spoken out about this issue below, because I think it's important to look at this and listen to these concerns and legitimate frustrations of these women, because it's not okay. It's just like a really scary and important topic, I think. And I just want people that are considering getting a plastic surgery done like this, or any plastic surgery really, to make sure that they do their research and don't settle for something just because it's cheaper. If you're gonna get it, you need to do a lot of research, make sure it is exactly what you want, make sure that you do look at reviews and you're paying for what you get. You know what I mean? Like, don't just pay for something because it's cheap. We see so many botched surgeries and it's not worth your life. Our bodies are not trends, and that's kind of what's happening. So now Kim Kardashian, there's word that she's getting rid of her BBL. And what are these women going to do when it's no longer a trend? That's the sad part. So let me know below what your opinions are, and let's keep this conversation going, because If you have an experience with this, leave it down below so you can help make other people aware of what your experience is. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.